So I'm here with Steve McKinty, who is the architect for Solaris Cluster Geographic Edition. So Steve, thanks to be here today.
Thanks, Ed. You're very welcome.
So we are releasing a new version of Solaris Cluster in this month. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the specifics of this release for Solaris Cluster Geographic Edition. I think the first of the important features that are included in this new release is the support of Oracle Data Guard. Why is it important for Geographic Edition?
Well, support of Data Guard for Geographic Edition is something we've been planning for a long time. Whenever we're doing disaster recovery, so we have a remote site ready to take over if something happens to a primary site, all of the data changes made at the primary site need to be replicated to that remote site. Replicating at the block level, just using storage, which we've been able to do up to now, is inconvenient for a database because it's quite tricky to maintain the integrity of database transactions. And it can also mean a lot of data being moved. One relatively small SQL request for a database can make a lot of changes that all have to be copied. Using DataGuard with Oracle RAC installations allows us just to replicate the transaction. Effectively, we send the transaction to the remote site where it's applied to that database. So we maintain the transaction integrity and we get a very efficient way of doing that replication, really optimizing the use of the communications links between the sites.
So this means that with Oracle Data Guard, we now have a complete solution for RAC in terms of a business continuity solution?
I never like to think of a solution as being complete because we can always optimize it further. There are certainly some additional features that we have planned to improve our RAC support in the future with Geographic Edition, but it definitely is I think the single biggest feature that we wanted to add to really improve the support of Oracle RAC.
So I suppose here now we have a solution that covers local clusters, campus clusters, and geographic clusters. So customers can really implement RAC across those different distances and provide really a complete disaster recovery plan, right?
That's certainly our plan, and one of the things I want to do going forward is to look at how we can better integrate, for example, campus clusters into this. We can support that as a model. It would be really nice to be able to combine campus clusters and Geographic Edition clusters even more completely than we can do. So that's what I meant when I said we could still expand on the model, but at the moment it certainly gives customers the whole choice of local protection, citywide protection, and then the disaster recovery protection to hundreds of miles, hundreds of kilometers away.
That's great, Steve. So now I think there is another feature that is important that was already included in the previous release of Geographic Edition, and it's about virtualization. So Solaris includes a very interesting virtualization technology which is called Solaris Container. Solaris Container was supported with some replication technology in the previous release. So what does this release add into the Solaris Cluster Geographic Edition solution?
What we've been able to add this time is support for Availability Suite, which is the host-based replication model. We've been able to support Solaris containers with other replication systems, but in the new release, thanks to some good work by the guys in the core cluster team to add some features that we needed within Geo Edition, we can now manage a Solaris container, so it can be running any kind of application inside that container, protected locally on the cluster, and if there's a problem we have to switch over to the remote site, we can restart that whole container on the remote site. All of the data will be available, replicated to the Availability Suite. So it greatly extends the range of applications and the models that we can protect in a business continuity environment.
So isn't that a pretty unique feature, meaning that in terms of virtualization technology, we have some interesting products on the market that do offer moving virtual machines between nodes in a local data center. So isn't this solution providing Solaris Container inside a Geographic Edition environment a very interesting feature because it does allow to combine virtualization and business continuity?
Yeah, I think it is. I'm not aware of other solutions that are as complete as this because it allows us to take all of the advantages that we get with containers on Solaris, and expand them to the stage of protecting them, not just in clusters. So I think it's definitely a really strong selling point. And when you consider that you can combine that with so many of the other features, you can have containers running on a cluster. That cluster can also be managing independent applications. It can be managing Oracle RAC. All of those can be protected to a remote site.
So I think this is really important, because going further, we will see a lot more virtualized environment, a lot more consolidated data center, where the protection against the disaster is not sought at the first implementation, but the more critical those data sets become, the more critical those services that are running on those consolidated systems become, the more important it is to have business continuity and disaster recovery plan to make sure that the service is on whatever happens wherever in the world. Thanks a lot, Steve. I hope we will have you later in the year for new features that we will be releasing.
Oh, certainly. We're already working on the next set of features, and if people would like to join us on opensolaris.org in the HA clusters area, they'll get a preview of some of the features that will be in forthcoming product releases.
Thanks a lot, and talk to you later.